This episode contains spoilers for The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 7. So if you haven't seen it yet, come back later when you have. This is the way.
We begin with a very shady looking Elia Kane lurking through the back alleys of Coruscant to find a safe spot to begin a transmission to none other than the elusive Moff Gideon. She informs Gideon of the Mandalorian's plan to retake Mandalore. We then see Gideon address the Shadow Council, a group of leftover Imperial warlords, and he requests reinforcements from Commandant Brendel Hux, a name that might be familiar to fans of the sequels, specifically mentioning 3 Praetorian guards. He also begins to question the whereabouts of Grand Admiral Thrawn to Captain Paleon, an avid Thrawn supporter. Back on Navarro, a worried droid races to High Magistrate Greef Karga to inform him of the arrival of the Imperial fleet. However, that's no Imperial fleet. It is in fact the Mandalorians with their newly painted light cruiser. That must have taken a lot of paint. During the evening's festivities, which didn't seem all that festive to be honest, Bo-Katan addresses the group and suggests a plan to retake their homeworld via the Great Forge and calls for volunteers. After some reluctance, Mandalorians begin to step forward, including Din, Grogu and Paz Vizsla. Before leaving, Greef Karga presents Mando and Grogu with a gift. IG-11, now IG-12, exoskeleton-like battle armour for Grogu.
Yes.
On their arrival on Mandalore, the scout group encounter a surviving clan loyal to Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan later reveals to the group that she did in fact surrender to the Empire shortly after the Night of 1,000 Tears to save the lives of her people. Despite this confession, our loyal Din Darjin pledges his allegiance to his queen. The party later arrives at the Great Forge, only to be attacked by a giant monster and then ambushed by a small army of Beskar-enhanced stormtroopers. After falling into a trap, Darjin is captured by Gideon, who reveals his intent to complete the Great Purge of Mandalore. After capturing Din, Gideon orders his troops to kill the landing party. But Bo-Katan uses the Darksaber to make an escape for the group, and our hero Paz Vizsla stays behind to buy time. Like a total badass, Vizsla fights off the stormtroopers, but sadly falls to Gideon's 3 Praetorian guards. The end. So much to take in here, and I have to say it, this is great Star Wars. First of all, the introduction of IG-12 had me in stitches. Not only is Grogu now battle ready, he's vocal as well. The scenes on Navarro were fantastic, and I'll go back to what I said in a previous video. It's all very cute until they start answering back.
Yes.
On a side note, a wide-eyed Twitter user, Just a Vet, noticed that our little Anzalian friend had paid no attention to Star Wars' no swearing policy.
That baby, oh, it's crazy! Come on.
Dang, Farrick! So, as predicted, the tide has finally turned for Bo-Katan. As I've been saying, things were going a little too well. Her journey this season going from moody castle-dwelling princess to accepted and respected leader of the Mandalorians had to hit some hurdles. Having said that, despite being defeated in the secret Empire base, she still managed to make the escape with the remaining Mandalorians and Grogu, largely with thanks from the heroic Paz Vizsla. But they are not out of the water yet. We also saw that Axe Woes escaped previous to the encounter with Moff Gideon, and the armourer has also returned to the ship, So all hope is not lost. Or is it? I can honestly see either one of these characters betraying Bo-Katan and the group. The armourer has never really given much away, but her recent change of heart regarding the way of the Mandalore and being willing to seek peace after years of fighting seems a little suspect. And what of Waves? He had quite the taste of leadership, and is he ready to give that all up, perhaps for a promise of a high ranking in New Mandalore? And would that be tempting enough to betray Bo-Katan and her group? Is Grand Admiral Thrawn on the way? He will have been informed of Moff Gideon's plans on Mandalore, and no doubt would have heard of Gideon's lack of faith in his return. Could we see his return next week to make our hero's situation even more dire? But there is hope. If the Mandalorian fleet can survive above, they can provide much needed support to the ground. I somehow doubt this, as I fully expected to see the armourer return to find the fleet decimated, and I'm glad I was wrong on that. There are other characters that could come to the aid of our group. Perhaps we could be treated to the live action introduction of the Spectres with Ghost flying into the rescue. Our pal Carson must have a clue of the Mandalorian's plans if Elia Kane does. Perhaps the New Republic could finally pull their space socks up and come to the rescue. Maybe word has got out to other clans of Mandalore that could arrive in time to make the save. We could see the return of Ahsoka Tano, having got wind of Moff Gideon's return on her quest to track down Grand Admiral Thrawn. We also mustn't forget that our old friend Peli is only an R5 transmission away, and she happens to live down the road from Boba Fett. And what of Mando Din himself? I'm going to guess that Moff Gideon will want to have a peek under that helmet of his. And of course, Grogu is not going to be too happy with the capture of his father. Could we see Grogu go into badass Jedi Mandalorian IG-12 mode and rescue his daddy from the bad man? I hope it's a
Yes, yes, yes.
and not a
No, no, no.
at the end of the final episode. If all else fails, we all know an X-Wing pilot who is quite handy in a sticky situation. Or maybe even the Millennium Falcon.